on to our Sueur City Council meeting dated August 11, 2025. At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members, you represented with your packets over the weekend. We had a little opportunity to look it over closely, reach out to our city administrator with any questions. This time, I would look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Huntington.
Second.
Council.
Second.
Councilmember K-Nelson. Thank you. Or Councilwoman, I'm sorry. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? Anything? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and have been made available to the city council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. These items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda and considered in normal sequence. Mr. Roby, would you want to go over these with us, please?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. First on tonight's consent agenda is approval of the city council minutes from the July 28th, 2025 regular meeting. Second is approval of disbursements through today. Included in those items are 8 items over $25,000. The first is Minnesota Public Facilities Authority for a wastewater treatment facility and well 8 and well house debt service payments, totaling $1,073,920.34. Next is the Sueur County Highway Department payment application number 3 for the 2025 street utility improvements project, $927,768.27. Next, MMPA for our July 2025 purchase power of $884,712.53. Next, the WW Blacktopping, that's for our 2025 full block paving as part of the 2025 capital improvement plan, $173,092. Next, again to MMPA, this is a correction on purchase power from April through June of 2025. We had a rather unusual scenario at our Main Street substation where the meter was reading incorrectly. That's been corrected now. The July bill reflected it correctly. And so the April through June correction total is $134,642.34. Item 6 to Resco. These are 15 kilovolt switches for the electric utilities, part of their 2025 capital plan, $198,925.17. Next, the Pastor Band Incorporated payment application number 2 for the North 4th Street Electric Distribution Improvements Project, $58,734.70. And finally, to Magic Turf payment application number 3 for the Bruce Frank Field Improvements Project that we heard about at the last council meeting, $56,297.50. Item C, approved payment application number 3 for this 2025 Street Utility Improvements Project. Item D, approved payment application number 2 for the North 4th Street Electrical Distribution Project. And item E, approved payment application number 1, the Zion Church Utility Improvements Project.
Thank you, Mr. Roby. Anybody have any questions regarding tonight's consent agenda? Anything at all?
I do. On the electric part of that we're paying, that wasn't included in these assessments. The electric's not included in that, but we're already spending money on that improvement project, right?
So this is just the electric, correct. So the street utility project, this project for which we're proposing assessments, does not include the distribution improvements project. Distribution improvements project is a separate project altogether, but the electric utility is paying for the assessments are not part of that project.
So is that bill up there related to the electric part of this project?
It's a different project altogether.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. It's related, and that some of the work is being done at the same time in the same general area, but there's 2 separate projects.
Thank you, Councilmember Nelson. Anybody else? If not, I'll accept a motion to accept tonight's consent agenda. If anybody wants to make that motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Schrader.
Second.
Councilmember Sullivan seconded. Any other discussion? Comments? Anybody have any concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Next is on to public comment. I do not believe we have anybody signed up tonight, so we will move past that. Moving on to city administrator's update. Mr. Roby, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just a reminder to everyone to sign up for Smart Hub. If you want information on your utility bills, that's one of the quickest ways to get it, because you can get real-time updates on your water and electric usage. You can always call the friendly staff at City Hall, but if you want to check it in the middle of the night, Smart Hub is yours. And it's free. This Thursday, we have a planning commission meeting. We have a couple different public hearings related to an Oak Terrace conditional use permit and redevelopment of Park Elementary. This Thursday night at 6:30 here at City Hall. Friday morning, we have a personal budget committee meeting. We continue negotiating with the law enforcement labor services union, this union that represents our police officers and police sergeants. We continue those negotiations today. Reminder to the public, 2 p.m. this Wednesday, come out to the outdoor pool for the pool patrol. The Sueur Police Department is putting on an event over there. We're going to have some officers jumping in the pool. There's going to be a rescue diver from the Sueur County at the pool putting on a demonstration. And safety cop will be there as well.
The safety one.
Safety cop.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Mascot.
He's a mascot for the police department. We're having a kickoff for the stormwater master plan later this month with the engineering team and city staff. Looking forward to that. We are kicking off negotiations with our IUOE Local 49 group, our public works and facilities operators. We're starting negotiations the last week of August with them. I'll be out of the office a little bit next Monday through Wednesday. Our next meeting is August 25th. And in closing, I just want to thank everyone who put in all the time and energy and effort into Johnny Day celebration, the 1st through the 3rd. It was a great weekend. Seems like a lot of people had fun. The weather was great, and the committee, volunteers, businesses, and city teams that everyone made it happen. The time is very much appreciated. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions regarding Mr. Roby's update? If not, that'll take us into tonight's regular agenda. First item is 7A, extended work hours request for the 2025 street and utility improvement project. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I will at this time, I'll just invite City Engineer Beefang up to the podium. I'll kick this off and then Corey can fill in any blanks that I may miss here. So this specific topic is not unfamiliar to City Council. We discussed it 2 meetings ago on a separate project. So just a quick refresher, section 97.05 of the City Code, which is our nuisance ordinance, outlines hours of construction related activity. And those hours are per city code, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. In conversation with the prime contractor, Keekly Underground on the North 4th Street of the street utility improvement project, they've requested an extension on Saturday mornings to bump that from 9 a.m. to 7 a.m. We're trying to get this project moving forward. Specifically, right out of the gate, there's a concrete contractor that would like the opportunity to be going early on Saturdays, coming up as soon as this Saturday. And again, as we mentioned the last time we discussed this, City Council has previously granted several exceptions to the nuisance ordinance to allow for projects such as these to move along as expeditiously as possible, get construction crews out of everyone's neighborhoods as fast as possible. So the motion that staff would recommend is to approve a 7 a.m. start time extension working hours on Saturday mornings for this specific project until the project is reached completion. Anything else, Corey?
Very good. You took the thunder out of you.
That's all right.
So what area, is there a specific area that you need to go earlier in the morning?
No, I don't believe the intent is going to be any specific area that will be limited to that. So the concrete work is complete up the Morningside, so it'll be Morningside continuing to the north. And I guess there's some sidewalk work still to the south. But the idea is just to kind of stay consistent to the normal operation of the weekday, starting at 7 a.m. A little cooler temps does help with the concrete operation. And just the idea of gaining 2 hours of the working day. They're not working consistently till that 9 to 10 p.m. hour every evening. So the morning hours are valuable working hours. And I think that ultimately is the request. So just a continuous operation on Saturday as a Monday through Friday operation. That's really the condition with this request. At this time, there's no intention to work Sundays, so this is being very specific to the Saturday workday or a weekend day, I guess, rather.
So would it be fair to say you don't need the hours from, let's say, 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. or 7 p.m. till 9 p.m.?
I guess I would need probably a little greater context to answer that question. The way we've configured our construction contracts is we just mirror the city code in reference to those limitations of hours, and really ultimately kind of the enforcement, maybe kind of rigor always resides around that 7 a.m. start. Typically, a contractor would start as early as you would allow. This prime contractor, they're staying in hotels here, they're out of town, so that early morning hour is they're generally pretty eager to start at 7 a.m. Now, we've had some days where work extends late into the evening, but they're not always bumping up against those end of day hours. But our intent is, when we're preparing these contracts, to try to mirror that city code, with exceptions being presented to city council and affording the greatest opportunity for them to complete the work as they kind of structure their means and methods. So not limiting it, I guess, is my really long answer to your question.
And I just want to reiterate, this isn't a private developer. This is our project. And I think the people of 4th Street and the people of Sueur are anxious to get this completed. And I can only assume there's cost savings involved with this too, if we keep the work moving.
Yeah, cost savings and yeah, potentially. I think ultimately it is just a sign of that kind of collective partnership to this, and trying to afford, flexibility where we're able. And there's an inconvenience to this project no matter what, right? And so a couple hours on a Saturday could be beneficial and fruitful in progress. And that's ultimately what we're always trying to accomplish, is quality work, but progressing, so that ultimate schedule and that winter condition can be recognized and successfully accomplished.
And I think with the school starting also, I think people are eager to get 4th Street open and move ahead with things.
Right.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Anybody? With that, I will accept a motion to approve a 7 a.m. start to the extension work hours for these Saturdays on the 2025 street and utility improvement project.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Sueur seconded it. Any other discussions?
Just one general comment. This is different than private development that we did not extend a request on recently. That wasn't disrupting traffic to the whole community. So this is a different case.
Thank you. Any other comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to 7B, that the resolution R 2025-040, declaring a cost to be assessed and ordered preparation of assessments for the 2025 street and utility improvements. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everyone will note that Mr. Beanfang is still at the podium, and there he shall remain until the end of agenda item 7C. In fact, it will happen. I'll let him carry the torch here for these two items, but just quick to set both of these up. These both action items, 7B and under 7C, were fully anticipated as part of the 2025 street utility improvement project. The process is very, very similar to the processes that we followed when it came to assessment for the CASA 22 and CASA 36 projects. We're following those processes nearly identically. because statutorily, if we want to assess, that's what we have to do, and partly because the process that we have followed previously seems to be well accepted by the community and is understood. So this would be the third project now that we've completed using these steps, where there's been assessments involved. And it's a two-step process. The first would be declaring the cost to be assessed and ordering the preparation of the assessment. And then agenda item 7C would be actually ordering the public hearing associated with those assessments.
Perfect, thank you, Mr. Ellie. So it is, the 429 process, we've talked really kind of at length here in the delivery of North 4th Street. It's very rigorous and kind of timely laid out process, and we are nearing the end of that 429 process. In reference to 429 is what allows us to specially assess. So the two-part action tonight is to declare and then order that second hearing, which I'll touch on in agenda item 7C. The first hearing was the improvement hearing before we ordered the preparation of plans and specs. So there's a 2 hearing requirement as part of chapter 429. In the city of Sueur, we have an assessment policy that speaks very literal to a benefit appraisal. So when you kind of dig into chapter 429, there's a reference to a special benefit that a property receives adjacent to an improvement. And, the policy speaks to a special benefit appraisal as I think being the most literal way of establishing that special benefit. And so for this project, we've completed a special benefit appraisal, and that report was linked in the packet. And within that, it's been a consistent appraiser dating back arguably all the way to 2nd Street. So that 2017, 2018 project, that's the first project the city enacted the special benefits. So this is really our 4th project in a row now. And within that benefit appraisal, there's a proposed assessment amount, or a special benefit amount rather. And within there's a low and a high range. And it's been the city's practice to recommend the assessments based on the low range. And so on the upper right there, the assessment roll, the total assessment projected for this project using that low range is at 853,400 number. Just to kind of reiterate from the time when we awarded the project, we're anticipating a total project cost just short of $8 million. And then, one of the most kind of critical components to the special assessment is it's a critical funding source to be able to afford these projects. And so special assessments is a part of that, as well as the other various funding sources that we have for this project, the enterprise funds, the local road improvement grant, and then the PFA funding on the clean and drinking water side for the low interest loan fund. You don't mind, Joe? So for the 429 process here on 4th Street, we've got 104 properties that are assessed, 104 individual PIDs. And within that benefit appraisal, probably the most consistent benefit established is the single family residential property based on a reconstruction type improvement. That's that 7,500 number. That has remained consistent through all 4 of those projects that I referenced, dating back to the 2nd Street project. And then within the benefit appraisal, then there is some identity, I guess, or identifying of, differences then beyond that single family residential. So we have a property here that is established as equivalent to 2 single family residential. So that assessment amount is 2 times the 7,500. And then it kind of further breaks out those different property uses. I think it's the most consistent kind of differentiator here, whether it's a business, a school, public, a church. On other projects that we've also had a different type of improvement being proposed. So a different improvement in conjunction with a different property use equates to a different benefit. On North 4th Street, it's all a reconstruction improvement. So then just the differentiator is the difference in the use of the property. If you don't mind, Joe. So in summary here, in regards to declaring costs to be assessed and ordering the preparation of assessment, our assessment is based very little to the benefit appraisal that's been completed for this project. In pursuing chapter 429, every property abutting North 4th Street is proposed to receive a benefit and thus a special assessment for those completed improvements. So the first action here tonight is to declare that cost to be assessed and the ordering of the preparation of the assessment. That's resolution R20-25040. And happy to entertain any questions you may have or additional comments.
Thank you, Mr. Bean. Appreciate it. Anybody have any questions at all?
I do, of course. Okay, could you go back to that, ma'am? So the large property that's sort of in the middle, down here and to this side, has a large area that's chunked out as is going to benefit from that improvement. Why is there so much land that's going to benefit from that improvement?
Yeah, so this map maybe a little misrepresented, and the project footprint is the pink line. So that's the corridor of improvement. So when I say adjacent to, that pink line is really kind of my governing basis in regards to that. So North Bridge Street up to Dakota Street, and then Cathcart from Commerce back to 4th Street. So that pink line, that's driving that abutted and adjacent properties. The map here is really just meant to be graphical in nature in the sense that the red hatching is hatching the property footprint of the property that's abutting and adjacent to North 4th. So that property, I believe that you're referencing in specifics in the middle there, that's the St. Anne's School. And so it's a PID that has improvements that are abutting North 4th, but there's a greater property footprint that has been hatched just for identifying purposes.
Okay, not for charging.
That's correct. No, it's not. So, in the city of Sueur, we assess per property. So PID is how our assessment roll is prepared. And so really that's just meant to visually recognize that that's a PID, that footprint of that PID is as hatched, but that would be one property on the assessment roll.
And you said you go based on the lowest, you go on the low range?
Yeah, so the way that the benefit appraisal is prepared is through evaluation of the improvement. It's looking at, property values, it's looking at other comparables. It's very comparable to a home appraiser, right? That's their kind of their expertise, and their obligation is to equate a monetary value to a benefit, to improvement. And so in the benefit appraisal, you'll notice this, but they give a low and a high of what they feel the benefit is. And so historical kind of practice and precedent has been that the city has proceeded with and recommended an assessment based on the low range.
Okay,
So just kind of, I think, trying to call attention to just trying to be mindful of the affordability of the project and the impact that it has on the community and the residents specifically. So that's been kind of the practice and the precedent that's set, and we're recommending the same approach for this one.
Okay, so the businesses going to benefit more they have more needs for electricity, water, power, sewer, all that stuff. They're going to cost more as part of the project, but we're not going to give them a higher price than they're still at the low end.
Well, maybe to kind of rephrase the question, I guess, in regards to the businesses specifically, I would argue the services, the cost of services don't really correlate. It's really referencing the improvements that are being provided with a project like this. And I think the note that you make in the regards that the businesses are benefiting greater than maybe a single family property is noted and I would say truthful. And the benefit appraisal references that, as does the proposed assessment goal. So if you look in there, at the end of your packet here this evening, there's a draft assessment roll. It's a little maybe a little confusing in the sense that we just order the preparation assessment roll. The next agenda item will note that roll has been prepared, but within the packet there is the proposed assessment roll, which we'll order the next we'll deliver here the next council item. But within that, if you note, there's a property designation on there, a property type designation, and every use other than a single family residential has a higher assessment amount. I think that's a pretty general term there. The one exception might be the church institution, but any commercial business, apartment
Is that what
industry.
the PID is?
You'll need to reference the type. I think that would be your most readily way. PID is
It's this type of lot.
Yep, that's right. So that's what you'd want to reference there.
And it doesn't, well,
So there are business types and all of those assessments will be greater than that single family.
so I see agri-per, no physical address for $7,000, and then all the single family ones are at like 7,500.
Yeah, I generally stated it, but if you go down not too far, right, you find a public one, you go down to the middle of the page, you find a business, both of those are in excess of 30,000. So think my statement in general, we could call attention to a specific property, and happy to revisit it, but in general, your non-residential single families are going to have a higher assessment. And that's been consistent to all the projects.
So it does go based on the benefit of use.
Correct, it does, yep. Yep, in the benefit appraisal, there's quite a equation to some of these properties. And
And then you say that the whole project is $8 million, around roughly 8 million. So this is roughly what, 10% of the project?
a little short of, yep.
A little short of 10%. But this, in here, it says this doesn't account for the electric. That's a separate thing. There'll be a separate bill, or I hope not bill, but a separate budget for the electric part.
So I think just to be clear, so there, and maybe this isn't your question, but there are two separate projects. There's one
The
for,
electrical portion of the project costs are required to be bonded separately.
yes, and so that would be just for improvements along the corridor to General Electric. So we're talking about street lighting, things like that. The distribution project itself is entirely separate. So the benefit, everyone is seeing the general benefit, whether you're a single family residential or you're a large business, everyone is seeing the general benefit of an improved water main, which everyone needs, whether you need to pull a residential service off of that or pull a commercial service, everyone is seeing generally the same benefit. But the appraisal would not account separately or specifically for electric only, if that's what you're asking.
Well, it says the electrical portion project costs need to be bonded separately. So are they included in the $8 million? All those costs, the electrical portion.
I think it's really important to note, Mr. Roby's alluded to, so there are two distinct projects that are occurring in the same corridor vicinity of. So there's the North 4th Street Street and Utility Project that has the electrical costs incorporated within it.
Okay.
And then there's this North 4th Street Distribution Project, which is kind of running adjacent, within and adjacent to. This is our second street utility project now, where we've collectively captured not only street utility improvement, but also the overhead underground conversion project. Having these projects occur simultaneously, to maybe some defense, a little difficulty in the delivery, but the reality of trying to disturb that area of the community one time to capitalize on the complete improvement, not only the street utility, the sewer, the water, the storm, the road, the sidewalk, but also getting that underground conversion project completed at the same time, in lieu of doing the street and coming back a year or two later and doing the utility. So we're collectively delivering two projects at once, two distinct projects. But within that, I think the electric CIP is noted to be something completely kind of separate and standalone and managed differently than the other city utility enterprises. So the electric costs, while maybe perceived in conjunction to one project or the other, they are accounted for and funded differently than the other enterprises. And I think that's the important thing that we're trying to note here.
My main question is, out of the $8 million, does that cover both of those distinct projects?
Does not.
And this too?
Does not.
So are both projects approved already by us and they're already underway?
Yes, they are.
But they're not funded? I'm not sure what you're saying.
No, I think what's important to recognize is that they're both approved, they're both under construction, they both have been presented to council in a transparent and consistent practice to previous improvements. There's just two distinct projects, and we're speaking very deliberately tonight to the street utility project.
Okay, so there's going to be this amount we're going to assess everybody, and then there's going to be an additional cost portion of the costs of the portion that's going to get, how is that going to get paid?
So a few different ways. So
Go back.
let me go back here. So under funding sources, and I'm again just talking very specifically about.
I just wondered if we're going to do another assessment. Well, we forgot this part.
No.
Okay.
There will be no assessment component to the distribution project.
Okay.
There is no distribution or no assessment for that. The assessments the only assessments we're considering at this time for any project are related to the street utility project.
Okay, so the other part is already costs are figured in and figured out how they're gonna get paid for.
Wasn't it always the goal of the city to bury the electrical around here? That's always a
Yes.
long-term goal of the city, to bury electric, not have it above ground. And so that's what this separate, in my mind, that's what this separate
Yeah.
distribution project is about.
Yep, so, and Corey referenced it, we did the same thing on the South Main Street project, the South 36 project, where we had two projects. We think of them as two separate projects. The public sees them as one because it's a whole bunch of guys in high vis who are digging around. And some of it's Metronet, adjusting the random places that they're burying their lines all over town. And some of it's the guys who are doing electrical distribution, some of it's the folks who are working on street utility improvements project. As Corey said, the goal is to try to, the electric department throughout the year, in any given year, Justin Anderson, the manager of the department, has a plan for what areas of town he has a budget for burying electric. And he will then prioritize certain areas based upon where the rest of the city utilities are doing their projects, so that we only have to disturb the area once.
Right, which
So,
I understand, we've talked about that
yep,
several.
but there's no assessment.
Okay,
for the
so
electric
that's
project.
just, I was just seeing that the electrical portion project costs are required to be bonded separately, so they're already bonded.
We haven't borrowed the money for them yet. Right now, we're cash flowing it. So the bond itself for this project, the Public Facilities Authority loan will come through hopefully soon this fall. We're just waiting for all the final applications. We've been approved for it and everything. We're just waiting for all the paperwork to come through, and then we'll bring that back to City Council for a vote, and that will fund.
And how much do we think that portion of it will be?
For the
The BFA component.
DFA. 5 to 6 million.
Yeah.
Probably towards the lower end now that is.
Split between water and wastewater.
Oh, it's not, well, how much is it just for this electrical portion that has to be bonded separately?
That one, and actually for that one, for electric, we are not actually bonding for that. We are just paying cash for that project. Because the electric fund is helping up to do so. That amount was 2.8-ish million was the estimate that was approved in the 2025 CIP.
Am I understanding though correctly, Corey, that the electrical portion of this project is only basically street lighting?
Yeah,
I mean, the part that we're funding is legitimately just the stuff you see.
yeah, there is a street lighting component, and then the other component that is, I guess, valid to recognize is we also are burying underground conduit with this project. So empty conduit that then the North 4th Street distribution project then will install the wire and install the infrastructure, the pedestals and transformers. So we're beating up a little bit on the electric, and I think the important thing we're trying to capture here is that there's a separate electric CIP, and recognizing that electric CIP has a overhead to underground transmission, conversion project intent. When we're able to align the street utility project with that conversion project, we feel like that's the best deliverable for the community to capitalize on this overall comprehensive improvement. And the idea that this improvement then can remain untouched for decades of time. That's what we're trying to align here. The way that the funding works though is we're meshing multiple different capital improvement plans. We have a street utility one, and we have an electric one. And so collectively, they're funding this overall project and this idea of this overall improvement. But there is a little bit of variability where all those funds are coming from. All part of an overall plan. We're just converging those and delivering them at one time. So it gets to be a little, just gotta be really kind of deliberate about what improvement you're referencing and where that dollars are coming from, because it's not consistent across the board, I guess is my point.
Yeah, I understand that. So.
I think, if I could interrupt you, I think we're kind of getting a little off the subject. I mean, we're talking about electrical projects we got going on. What we're talking about right now is the street improvement project and how we're going to assess it. I kind of want to focus on that. So, and if I read you right, Mr. Roby, we're going to talk about the electrical at another meeting, the electrical improvements.
I don't know that there will be, because the project's already been approved.
It's been approved and the funding is all set up for it. So I just kind of want to focus on what we're looking at here, declaring the costs, the assessed preparations of the 4th Street project. So you want to bring up the action item we have up there, Mr. Roby? Is that, there we go. So with that said, I just want to keep it to this subject if we may. Is there anybody who wants to make a motion declaring the costs to be assessed and ordering preparation of proposed assessment R 2025-04?
Can I ask a couple of questions? Please?
If it's regarding this,
It
please.
is. My questions are, the bond that we agreed to get for the for the whole project, is the assessing cost included in that bond? The cost that we're going to assess these people along this corridor, was that included in that bond cost or bond price? Or the value of the bond? I don't know how to phrase that, I guess.
So the amount that, no, so we're budgeting to take those assessments in over a period of time.
Right.
To help pay a portion of the project. So
Right.
your question is the $853,000 going to be included in the full amount that we're borrowing?
Yes.
And I think the answer is yes.
Okay. Okay, so my next question then is, when those assessments are paid by the property owners, whether it's paid at the end of the year in the property taxes or if they're paid in full, is that going to be put on that bond at that time, or will that money be put into the general fund?
No, that it'll be required that those payments go directly to pay off the bond.
Okay, that's what the questions are. Thank you.
Yeah, so anytime we get and that's one of the things that's nuanced with a PFA loan is if we get a prepayment, for example, a property sells and at closing is required to pay off any assessments and that property sells, we get a check for whatever the balance of the assessment is. We will be obligated to report that to the PFA and apply that payment to the debt.
Thank you.
So another question?
No, that was, you answered it. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions regarding R 2025-040? If not, I'll accept a motion to pass that resolution. So moved. Second. Thank you, Councilmember Huntington. Councilmember Schlater seconded. Any other discussion? Comments? Concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to item 7C, resolution R 2025-041, ordering a hearing on the assessments for the 2025 street and utility improvements. Mr. Roby.
I'll just let Corey.
So part of the assessment process is kind of a 4-step process. So we declared cost to be assessed. We ordered the preparation of the assessment roll. The third action then is to order the hearing of the assessments itself. So ordering a proposed assessment hearing. That is a required step. That's the second hearing of the 429. I covered that. And then this assessment hearing is conducted such that the council can hear and consider all and any objections either presented in oral or in writing in regards to the proposed assessment. The fourth step that I acknowledge then is following the assessment hearing then, council has discretion to amend or change or ultimately weigh in to what that final assessment role is. And then the final action then is the adoption of the assessment role. So this agenda item here is to set the hearing. So to order the hearing and set the date and the time for that hearing. Tonight we are on August 11th then. The commitment tonight is to order that hearing. As part of a hearing, there's a 2-step notification process. One is to mail notices directly to those PIDs that are being assessed. Within that is acknowledgement of the hearing time and date, some other kind of chapter 429 legalities within that, and then also the assessment amount that's being proposed as part of that assessment role, that draft or preliminary assessment role. Additionally, we have to publish within the official city newspaper notice of the assessment hearing, and the the council is being asked to consider conducting that hearing at the regular city council meeting on September 22nd. So we need about a month in between to properly notice and publish for council meeting. So we've identified that September 22nd meeting. A process that we adopted here kind of midstream of these street utility projects is to then wait on the adoption of the assessment until the meeting following the hearing, just so that it gives kind of full opportunity for council to vet and discuss if needed any of those comments received as part of the assessment hearing. So then we would be queued up then to adopt that assessment role, provided any direction regarding the council in regards to that role then at the October 13th council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Beanfield.
So the hearing date, that is the action as part of this resolution. So hearing date 6:30 of that September 22nd meeting. And then as part of that, the city clerk and my support, then we will properly notice and publish then for that hearing for that set date and time. And resolution R 2025-041 is ordering that assessment hearing for September 22nd at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Beanfield. Appreciate your input on this. Anybody have any questions? I just want to comment. I've been a part of several of these projects. Several of these council members have also. This looks like it's well within compliance of what we've done in the past. So anybody have any questions for Mr. Beanfield? If not, I would entertain a motion to pass resolution R 2025-041 during the hearing on the proposed assessment.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan, seconded by Councilmember Williams. Any other comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Beanfield. Moving on to reports and items of appreciation. Council members, if you're opportunity to show what's going on in the community, what's going on with your commission. And as always, we'll start with Councilmember Huntington.
I've got nothing, sir.
Nothing. Councilmember Nelson.
Nothing else.
Nothing. Councilmember Schläger.
Just two items. I attended a Sueur County officials meeting on the 30th, and Administrator Roby noted earlier, there's a planning commission meeting on Thursday.
That was quick. Thank you. Councilmember Smith.
Nothing to add to.
Thank you. Councilmember Sullivan.
Nothing to report.
Wow. Councilmember Williams.
I have an HRA meeting next week, and again, I'd like to reiterate the Jack Days committee, how well run everything was. And it was a great event, a lot of people there, and the weather couldn't have been better. So it was a job well done.
Thank you. I echo your sentiment. I appreciate it. I have nothing else. With that, I will entertain a motion to dismiss tonight's meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.